So in this video, I'd like to talk about how I love the unfairness of Escape from Tarkov Arena. And I think you may love it too if once you get used to it, and the game will love you back for loving it. Okay, let me explain. And the way it works is currently is that you can think of it like you're playing Counter-Strike, and in between rounds, if you play the previous rounds well, you got money, then you can get better guns this round. And Escape from Tarkov moves that from round to round, from match to match, which means if you play a few matches well, you get more money to get more expensive kits for the next match. So there's a strategic layer to how you play that rewards you on a longer time scale, not just on the current match. A lot of players act like it's this unimaginable injustice if they only have an SKS with US rounds and they meet another player who has a G36 with drum magazines. And even saw Reddit posts about somebody claiming that there was like this player with a G36 who basically killed his entire team and they couldn't do anything. He was just shooting everybody like that. And I think that was completely made up because somebody ran this scenario in their head and they think of it like it's a Dota game where you just run into each other, you shoot full auto until somebody loses all the hit points and it's over. And that's how I would play labs because most players, how they currently play Escape from Tarkov, the base game, they play Scav 90% of the time and they only play PMC to do quests. And then only when they get everything unlocked, they play labs with an M4 with a 60-round drum magazine and just peek around corners, go full auto. And if you play the game like that, it's basically like jousting. It's just subtracting hit points from each other. Okay, so you can see here, I ambushed the guy. He just walked past me and I housed him. Do you think the kits that he had would have mattered at that point? He only had class 2 body armor and the class 3 helmet. But even if it would have been class 4 or 5 gear, that volume of fire of about 1000 RPM would have found a gap somewhere in the head on the side and just shredded him down. You see this guy walks into my shot. And he probably had the class 4th, or is it the class 2 vest? I'm not sure. Anyway, unless he had a helmet and the visor shut down, that would have been a straight kill. He walked right into the shot. Start this here. You can also see he overlooked me, didn't see me. The first shot goes in the back, he turns around. And the second shot aimed for the legs and he was gone. Now, would have a better kit mattered here? A better kit would have possibly caused him to survive his second shot. I would have taken a third shot, perhaps taken 1 or 2 hits, but it was still won the fight. This guy overlooked me. I just walk up behind him, drop down. Okay, see here, that was just the enemy just overlooking me, running past me, and I just dropping next to him and firing a shot. Now again, would the gear here matter that he had? He actually had quite decent gear. He had a class 4, I think it's a class 3 body armor, no helmet. But even if he would have had class 6 body armor, I would have shot him in the gap in the helmet somewhere. So what I'm trying to show you with those clips is that your gear against the enemy's gear is only 20% of the outcome, unless you directly run into them like you would play labs. If you have everything, you don't care about losing your stuff. So the gear difference is only 20%. The other 80% is positioning, how well you use your gear, how well your teammates play, and the same for the enemy. And that's why I'm making this video, is because players are overstating the gear difference as some game-breaking, extreme thing that needs to be fixed right away. And I think it shouldn't be fixed. It should actually remain unfair like that. Because it adds that strategic layer to the game, where the game is not just about players with almost identical gear fighting each other over the same corners all the time. Because that wild difference in gear, it makes it more exciting for myself, because when I go into a match, the first round I want to check out what gear the enemy has, and then I want to adapt my tactics to find holes in their tactics. So if the enemy, for example, in this map, If the enemy has like submachine guns and they like to rush around the flanks, and I have a Mosin, then I need to adapt my tactic to intercept them before they get there, or somehow keep my distance from them. And that's a really fun part of the game, having like to figure out what's the best strategy to win this particular match. And especially because players are stuck with the same loadout they picked at the beginning of the match. Because I've seen some people suggesting you should be able to switch the loadout each round. And that will make the game much more boring. Because then you can just, instead of developing better tactics with the gear that you have at hand, you just switch out your gear. And Tarkov was always supposed to be some type of more difficult FPS game where you have to think for yourself, use tactics, outmaneuver the enemy. And in the long run, I think players would start liking it this way much more than they would like other competitive games like Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege. So that's what I wanted to show with this video is get used to the way the game is with its unfairness and love it. And I think it's going to love you back.